Hello. Welcome to Raw and Real
Hi,
19.
we're really doing it. In fact, as soon as I can find out where we are, I can be a little bit more involved here. But I'm M.A. Powers coming to you live from Maine.
And I'm JL Powers coming to you live from lovely California. As you can
It
see,
looks lovely there. It looks
it's a
lovely.
nice,
Actually, today is very nice here, and I had to vent the little greenhouse I put up because it was 100 degrees in there.
ah. Hey, did you find us yet? Are you
No, I haven't, but that's all right. We can just keep on rolling.
okay? So, what I wanted to chat about this week. So yesterday I went to the gym, and as I walked into the women's locker room, I saw this woman come down, and she had on it this T-shirt that said "Do epic shit." And
Mm.
my first thought was like, you know, a number of. I mean, I did immediately thought it's a good thing she's missing the "an" in there. Do an epic, right?
Right.
um, but okay. But I had a couple of thoughts right away, and I wanted to talk about it
Yeah.
because we're always talking about how there seems to be this huge pressure in life these days to, you know, in order for your life to matter, you have to like do epic stuff. Yes, you may. Yes. And that was the message that sent to me. Like, if you don't do epic
Right.
things, like you're not living a real life. You're not
Right.
living. Like there was this immediate sense of almost judgmentalism in it. I
Right.
like um the only things that matter are the epic things, whatever they are. And I
Right.
thought, well, who defines what is epic? And what's wrong with living a not epic life, or, living a life that's, where you're not doing quote unquote epic stuff all the time. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, and actually, the funny thing was the TED Talk this weekend was kind of tangentially about that, and again dovetails into my philosophy about celebrating the average
Mm-hmm.
instead of feeling like we have to kill ourselves to be the best of the best all the time. And that TED Talk, I wish I had the names. I didn't think I was going to talk about this, or I could have looked it up and told you about. But anyways, there was this study done about chicken flocks. I know this sounds like this has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but it was what they did was they took a flock of chickens and they said, oh, this is a pretty good producing flock of chickens. They produced eggs, and it's easy, of course, with chickens to say that they're good or they're bad just by counting how many eggs they produce a day. So they had this pretty, it was a good flock of chickens, but they just took it and they said, okay, for 6 generations, we're going to keep working with these chickens. And then they decided to make chicken, the Uber chicken flock. And what they did is they picked out from other flocks all the super high producing egg chickens, and they put them in a flock. And then they had, for 6 generations, they took the best of these guys. And when they got down after 6 generations, of course, in our Western culture philosophy about how life is, you would expect the super flock of super chickens to be super producing of eggs, but of course they just pecked themselves to death, and there was only one alive by the end of their experiment, and so it was a totally not great experiment. And of course, the average chickens did great, and they still lived, and they continued. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Go ahead. And so the idea is that they were talking in terms of work, why everybody hates work, because we continue to try and pick out the super producers and the best of the best and put them all together, and they hate each other. And then you're in this where you're always feeling like you need to be the best at everything. And if somebody else is good, then you're not good. right? Instead of being like, we need to be working at each other. And they said, like in our day and age, and this totally helps with this, is that, or I think dovetails into what we're talking about, is that you have these super producing parents who then have kids, and then they push their kids to be super producing kids. And then those kids go to Harvard with all these other producing kids, and you would think that they'd be great and that they would all be happy and enjoying life, but they hate life and they hate work and they hate what they're doing, because everybody's living in this condition where where you have to be better than other people. You can't help people, you have to be better. And so in the end, you're less functional and less able to work than people who fit in and are average and just do the work. And they're in an environment where they're helping each other, and like everybody does well when everybody does well. And so the idea that your life is not worth it unless you're doing epic things or you're the best of the best is draining, right? Mm-hmm. And it's counterproductive, because we all know that most of our life is not going to be epic, right? And so if you believe in a philosophy where you're just not living life unless you're doing awesome stuff all the time, then you're going to be depressed and you're going to feel like a failure no matter how great your life is.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, happiness doesn't come, there has to be a balance, of course. We really you do want to encourage people to achieve their dreams,
sure,
not give up on it and be like, oh, I can never do it. But the reality is if you're always trying to be the best or better than somebody, well, you'll never achieve that. Maybe there's a handful of people that achieve that. But that isn't something really that's achievable. And so you'll never actually find contentment, I guess.
Right. But I think the other idea is that there will be the Steve Jobs out there, and mm-hmm. there will be the Bill Gates out there. But if all there are is Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, then they'll hate each other and we'll get nothing done, mm-hmm. right? We think that Apple is just, this company that is Steve Jobs, right? And that Microsoft is just a company that is Bill Gates, which is our myth. It's our philosophy, but it's and it's something that we tell our kids to make them strive to be better than everybody else, and yet it is just a lie. If you don't have the engineers there and you don't have the rest of the company there, then it's totally worthless. If they didn't have people who worked with them, they didn't have the average people around them to actually achieve their vision, then it would not work. Of course, you need them too. I'm not saying that that Apple would be Apple without Steve Jobs. I'm just saying that that's not the full picture. And if in our culture, instead of saying, hey, look, this awesome company is awesome because of all the people in it, not just because of Steve Jobs, then we devalue people.
Yeah, we devalue the masses. We coalesce around these charismatic personalities and think they are the pinnacle of achievement, and we should all try and be like them. But no, you can't. And two, I mean, I think you can see that as a problem politically too, right? When we coalesce around a particular charismatic individual and think that's the person that, it creates political problems. We can see that in our own country right now.
Well, I think part of our problem, though, is not just it's that we are giving people the wrong goals.
Yeah, what do you mean?
We are giving them goals that will make them unhappy, even if they are quote unquote successful. Because the goal should not be that you are the best at what you do and that you strive to be better than everybody else. That is our goal that we give people, because we reward people monetarily for that. But that is a terrible actual goal. You want to have a goal where your goals for people should be, you want to be in a situation where you are able to achieve goals with the people that you are working with in a way that both uh, values you and but also the people around you, where you are working together as a team. It doesn't mean that you're all lovey nice all the time, but you need to be in an environment where you can say things that are tough for people to hear, but it's safe enough that people can hear it. Otherwise, we don't grow from other people, right? I'm not talking about like we sit around with drums and say kumbaya or anything like that, because that doesn't work. We have a focus, we have a goal, and we talk about it, and we ultimately go as a team in that direction, and we push each other to do the best that we can, but we have somebody that's at our back, right? Who's there for you when things are tough, and is there to push you forward when they can, and that is a safe place to say, you know, you're doing great, or you're not doing great right now, what's going on? Mm-hmm. And we are not getting our goals done because we're doing this. We need to quit doing this and start doing this other thing to get our goals done, right? That's the environment you want to be in. I'm not talking about a place of no stress or no friction. You got to have some stress and some friction almost. That's just a definition of being human. The difference is that you're going together. It's a goal together to get somewhere. You're not saying, okay, I'm not going to get this promotion unless I'm better than X. And that means I'm either going to be better than him, or I got to tear him down or her down so that I look better, so that I get the promotion. You see the difference?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. And to actually push this conversation in a slightly different direction, though, I don't think sure. I'm not even sure that t-shirt was talking about a life attitude, right? And so it was applied to work, but it was also right. applied to fun too, right? Like right. It was not just true. Acceptable to, you know, go for a walk around the neighborhood. No, you've got to like scale Mount Everest, you know? It's
right, exactly.
It's a whole philosophy around life, not just, you know, what you're trying to achieve in your career and your job. And that too I find problematic. I actually like just wandering around the neighborhood, you know. I would
well, right. But I think part of that attitude might be also that, like, it's kind of like my Facebook page is better than yours because I'm in Sweden. Or, you know, or I'm in Mexico on the beach drinking, and so I look like I have a better life than you. But of course, you're hiding the fact that you have some nasty gut bug and you've just come off the toilet. People don't see that you did have an epic shit, and it took you half an hour. All they see is the margarita on the beach. They don't see the after effects of food poisoning.
Right. All right, that might be a good place to that might be a really good place to end. Any last thoughts?
Yeah, don't be a super chicken.
There we go. Just be an average chicken. All right. I'm JL Powers.
I'm MA Powers.
We're the dynamic duo sibling behind Broken Circle, and we will see you next week.
And Powerssquared. Don't forget Powerssquared.
Powerssquared.com. Yep, Powerssquared.com. Right. Bye-bye.